I'm Marjorie.
Sitting in the wicker chair on the balcony, holding a hot cup of tea, I'm finally at peace. The gentle scent of jasmine wafts from the steam, and the suburban morning is filled with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. The fresh air has blown away the last of my worries. It's been months since my husband, Ethan, left this house, and life has finally returned to the path I once dreamed of. But it wasn't always like this. I remember the day I found the receipt for a luxury SUV deposit. It was a sunny afternoon, and I was sitting on the sofa, flipping through the bills. The receipt caught my eye, and my heart skipped a beat. We had never discussed buying a new car, and it was clear this wasn't a gift for me. I confronted Ethan that evening. He was sitting in the open kitchen, engrossed in his phone. I told him about the receipt, trying to keep my voice steady. He looked up, his eyes briefly showing surprise before his familiar smile appeared. He said it was for work, that a client wanted to make an impression, and he was just helping with the paperwork. But I knew something was off. His eyes avoided mine, and his fingers tapped nervously on the table. After dinner, I checked our joint savings account on my phone. My eyes widened as I saw the balance drop significantly. There were numerous withdrawals and transfers to places I had never heard of, high-end fashion stores, luxury restaurants, and of course, the car dealership. I realized that Ethan had not only been unfaithful emotionally, but also financially. I started to investigate quietly. I went through every receipt, every bank transaction. I even called the car dealership, pretending to be a concerned wife. I found out that the car was reserved by Ethan for a woman named Lily. I looked her up on social media, and it didn't take long to see that she was a young, beautiful woman with a lavish lifestyle. Ethan had been using our joint money to spoil her. I knew I had to take action. Instead of confronting him right away, I decided to bide my time. I made a list of all the evidence I had collected and stored it in an encrypted folder. I reported the unauthorized transactions to the bank, and they launched an investigation. I also filed a complaint with the car dealership. All the while, I continued to play the role of the loving wife. I prepared breakfast for Ethan every morning, asked about his work, and even suggested romantic evenings. He seemed completely unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. One evening, Ethan took me to a fancy restaurant downtown. He had planned this for over a week, but I knew his real intention was to leave me and go to Lily. I had a plan of my own. I sat in the car, my hand on my clutch, which held my phone with a pre-set call. As soon as he left the restaurant, I pressed the button. The repossession team and the detective sprang into action. Less than 30 minutes later, I received a message that the car had been successfully repossessed. I sat back at the table, finishing my dessert, feeling a strange sense of peace. When Ethan came home that night, his face was flushed with anger and confusion. He slammed the door shut, and the keys clattered on the floor. I was sitting on the sofa, reading a book. He asked me why I was still up, and I simply said I was waiting for him. In the following days, Ethan became more and more agitated. He received constant phone calls, and he would hang up or pretend to be checking emails whenever I walked into the room. One morning, I found him sitting at the dining table, his head in his hands. He said it was just a bank issue, that his account was frozen due to suspected fraud. I pretended to be surprised and offered to help, but I knew the truth. As the investigations continued, Ethan's world started to crumble. The bank and the car dealership were closing in on him. Eventually, he left the house, and I was finally alone. I took this opportunity to transform my life. I cleaned out the old furniture and decorations that reminded me of Ethan. I hired a repair team to repaint the walls in warm, bright colors. I started taking better care of myself, doing yoga on the terrace every morning and planting greenery around the house. I also reconnected with my old friends. I sent a message to my best friend from college, Sarah, whom I hadn't seen in years. We met at a small cafe, and it was like a door had opened to a new world. She told me I had become stronger, and her words encouraged me. I returned to work as a graphic designer. I set up a small home office and started taking on freelance projects. New clients started reaching out, and I felt a sense of purpose again. Now, I'm looking forward to the future. I've booked a flight to Italy in the fall to visit Venice. I'm also preparing to open a small shop selling handmade crafts. I've learned that sometimes loss can be an opportunity for rebirth. I've let go of the past and found myself again. I'm no longer the woman who tried to please her husband. I'm a confident Marjorie, ready to embrace all the good things life has to offer.